fine. My claw... Mom, what do you do if your claw gets stuck in the clam? Let go. Mom, it's stuck in my claw. What are you looking at, bird? This is how I carry it. Just walk it over here. Just taking my clam for a walk, that's all. I didn't want that clam anyway.
Yes, there you go.
That would be awesome. It's just like Ben Affleck teams up as Batman.
The wrong genre.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the wrong superhero movie. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's gonna be terrible though.
Oh, hands down, dude. Does Robin Williams have anything better to do?
Not anymore. No. After Aladdin, the genie was over with. He's done.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you know he was gonna be he was up for probably the Riddler role in the Batman movie?
Are you serious?
Yeah, he was up.
That
for
would have killed the whole thing.
It would have, but it would have been hilarious.
It would have, like a gruesome, hilarious death, like a car accident. In slow motion, uphill. Think about that.
Welcome to Movie Roulette. I'm Chad.
I'm Kris.
And that was Bears. That was really depressing what you just said. And, well, what can we say about Bears? Kris, I could definitely say that this movie was, I think it's hard to kind of...
Well, first of all, you lied to me. I mean, tell me it's a Disney film about bears. I'm expecting Winnie the Pooh and Baloo, and it's not about that at all.
I had to get you, to come in and do
I was
the
excited for
me.
Winnie the Pooh meeting Baloo, and it's just, no, that's not cool. You lied.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I had to lie.
Apparently
How else were you going to get out of your bed when I text you saying, hey, do you want to go do bears with me? You didn't respond. You said Baloo and Winnie the Pooh are there.
Well, that's different. That's Winnie the Pooh, but he's got honey. Honey's cool.
That is true.
But this is about real live bears, and they were in Alaska. There's a mom and her 2 cubs. And
Sky, Amber, and
Scout
were the 3 bears. Basically, this movie was their journey to, I guess, pretty much through what they do in order to prepare for next winter.
Yeah.
Which I can say it was very vague.
It was a journey to Golden Lake for the bears and Crystal Lake for the fish. It was a fish massacre, and that was kind of sad. So they wake up in the winter hibernation, and they go down this big mountain. It's sort of like Lord of the Rings, on this quest to go to their destination, and they go over the mountains. They're chased by bad bears and wolves, and then they eat the fish, and then they go back again. It was sort of a rip off of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the entire movie, well, actually, documentary, I should say, is exactly what you would expect with a beginning and an ending of documentary. There's not even a spoiler alert in it. I mean, I could say a bunch of spoilers, but that is the movie. It is just one big documentary about a bear, 3 bears, walking across the Alaskan plains or forests or mountains. Or whatever they have in Alaska, that kind of.
You saw the film. You saw the film in Alaska.
I'm sorry, but
obviously you were barely paying attention.
Oh, we're gonna do bear puns.
We're gonna do bear puns.
You know what? It's not my fault. It was just a bunch of bears lying around.
It's not even the right animal.
I don't care anymore.
It's totally wrong.
But I could definitely say one thing though about this movie is that the visuals were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
it was. I mean. It was kind of sad watching the fish get eaten. It's sort of funny because the music gets all cheerful as the fish are dying. Because the bears finally have food. So you're happy for the bears, but, so this peppy, happy music and the fish are being torn to shreds. That was kind of odd. It
was very sad. I like how you pointed that out, like, just in the middle of the movie. It's like, did you notice that it's really happy and the fish are being eaten?
It is.
But the one thing with this movie is the visuals were great. The actual time... everything was like set up very, very well. The actual how it went from point A to point B wasn't very descriptive. They were very vague as to why they do this and everything. All they said was, oh, they're doing it to prepare for winter.
Pretty much.
But you kind of got that grasp of this is just a story.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really have to be educational. But at the same time, though, if I was a kid, I would, or if I was just anybody, I kind of would be curious as to why. Why do they go back up the mountain? Why do they just dig a hole like I would do, dig a den around the riverbed, and then when winter comes, you just have food right there.
Well, the bear went over the mountains so the bear could see with that song.
I don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah, me either.
I don't.
But I mean, the acting was kind of unbearable.
There wasn't any acting with all bears.
That's why it was unbearable.
But we did claw our way through it.
We did.
See, I was able to get one.
Good job.
See,
Yes.
that could be at any animal.
Yeah.
The one thing I could definitely say though is it did have John C. Reilly, who did a lot of voice work before. Can't really think of anything off the top of my head that he's done,
No.
but his voice is so out of place.
Yeah. He does not mimic a mother bear or her daughter bear at all. He barely does the male baby bear.
No, he doesn't. Or you know what? They all look the same. Bears look the same.
They
to
do.
me.
But the whole part with the clam just got to be this one point in time, the young male bear gets this clam stuck on his claw. Well, it's funny to watch. The narration for it just made it not really that good. It was just kind of grisly.
Yeah, it did. It got very grisly in the very middle of the actual movie. There was a couple fight sequences, and one of my favorite scenes is literally where they're just like all fighting, and then I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be great. They're gonna tear each other to shreds, and then they just stop.
Yeah.
And walk away. It's like, well, they won. I'm like, who won? That guy won.
You couldn't tell, and you can see the stunt doubles there. That kind of ruined the whole fight scene a little bit for me.
Yeah, Nick Cage was dressed as a bear the entire time.
Fighting
But
the
to actually do that, yeah,
the salmon scene was hilarious, though. You've got to admit.
Oh, let's not spoil that
No,
scene.
we won't.
I don't want to spoil that scene.
But you've got to go see it. In the salmon scene, you'll crack up at that.
Oh yeah, but all in all, though, I think if the one thing I could actually do differently with this movie is I would take out John C. Reilly as a narrator
and make it a bit less storybook-like and just more like true to what was going on. The whole thing with the raven, like
I call that out in the middle of everything. That first off, there is a very persistent wolf. And there is a raven that just somehow shows up and tells them there's food. Apparently, bears are stupid, that they need to follow a bird, a raven. That's not even, I don't even think was there the entire time.
No, I don't think it was. I think that was like spliced in for story purposes, which is fine. But for a nature documentary, you expect it to be more factual.
Yeah.
And not quite so storybooky, because you don't know if it's, do bears really follow ravens in the wild to find food, or do they just follow natural instinct? Now I don't know.
Yeah, now it's like, if I
go on Jeopardy, I'm going to lose money because I'm answer wrong, and I'm going to sue Walt Disney Company for messing me up.
Yeah, and that would be very extreme.
Well,
but if you sue them, let me know, and then we'll split the money.
Sounds good.
So all in all, though, if I could say to go see bears, I would see bears if you are expecting to see bears, but not going to be learning anything about bears.
Yeah.
You would be more so seeing it as a storybook form of, hey, point A to point B with these said bears, and then that's the entire movie.
I mean, for the visuals, it's worth it.
Oh, hands down. Visuals,
absolutely worth it.
Beautiful visuals. The interesting thing is, stay after the credits, too. Just stay for like maybe 5 minutes after, because it's a lot worth it, though. It's really interesting.
Oh, yeah, they show you how they make the film, and we really are impressed with the photographers.
Yeah, I mean, they get like 2 feet of close to these bears. It's like they flipped a coin and said,
yeah, you're it.
You're going in today. But I'm just the guy who gives you water. You're gonna go film that bear.
Right.
Like that. But that was definitely something that was interesting too. I would probably, my final grade for this documentary movie storybook thing, I give it a on visual base. If you're just going in there to just see a really, really beautiful movie, B on everything else if you are expecting a documentary educational film. Yeah. Because it is very misleading. Yeah. So that would be what I would give the movie.
Yeah, and I say too, it's also worth noting if you have little kids, the fight scenes are kind of intense. There's one point in time a male bear is trying to chase the little cubs. That can be kind of intense for them. The fish do get killed on screen. There's some bear nudity in there, so be forewarned about that too. Like you, let's say A for visuals, B's and bear for everything else.
It was pretty. You know what? I can't. You already took it. It's like the movie was bearable there. So I'm Chad.
I'm Kris.
And this is Movie Roulette. We'll see you next week.